Hello, hello. Your boy is back. Don't adjust your television set or your computer screen. I'm here. I'm sorry to miss last week. This is Squared Circle Radio Live. My name is Chris Belcher, and that is a young buck, Andy York. Andy, thank you for holding down the fort last week. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a good time. It's been a while since I've done a solo episode, so it was a little more challenging than I remember it being. But we had a good time. Had some people. You left Aaron in the chat with me by myself, so that was
Hello.
that was a little hectic. But other than that, it went pretty smooth, I think.
I love it. I love it. All right. So thank you guys for being with us. Again, if this is your first time, make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast. Wherever you find the podcast, make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Drop those comments and questions in the chat. We would appreciate it so very much. I'm going to go ahead and tell you just quickly, Andy and I'm trying to fix my computer. There's some audio issues going on with my computer. I'm trying to fix it real quick. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, the Middle Tennessee area is under a severe weather advisory all night. So if Andy and I just happen to end the stream, that's why. So we're seeking shelter and keeping our family safe. So that'll be that. But Andy, let's get into why we're here. Everybody saw it on the thumbnail. It's the big news from this week. Normally we would start with how Monday Night Raw ends, but we're not going to do that tonight. We are going to talk about the releases. Black Friday, as it's been dubbed, has come and gone. And Andy, I don't know why it is. And let's just big picture this for a second. I don't know why it is, but like this happens every single year. Like they release people every single year right after WrestleMania, and it takes us by surprise every year, no matter who it is, what it is. I know that we're going to get into it doesn't make it right and this, that, and the other, but I don't know why it takes us by surprise. It's a big company and they're going to make cuts. It comes at an unfortunate time.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily that we're surprised that it's happened. I think at least this time, we're surprised by not just the names on it, but this was a lot more. Like there was a lot more people released this time than I remember in the last couple of years. And it's a bad reason that they use.
Yeah.
For budget cut reasons. Oh, but this is also the most profitable we've been ever. But we're still, going to use budget cuts as a reason, as a resource. If you're going to release people, just release them. Like just say, hey, we don't have anything planned for them. We're not going to use them. We're just going to release them versus trying to find some lame excuse to make yourself look, oh, we had to do this. I don't think you had to do this. I think you did this because you're just trying to free up room. You're trying to clear space. You're trying to do this, that, and the other. But the names this year are more telling and I think is kind of a precedent of where we've been going the last couple of years with TKO and with everything else. It's not a good look. Some of the people they released and the way that they released them, I feel like.
Well, let me just say this. And Andy and I can sit in here and debate and gripe and complain about the people that are getting let go and why they're getting let go and what we think about it. After all, Andy, this is our platform to talk about what we think about. The bottom line, I'm going to say this. Anything that we say tonight, we don't know truthfully what is happening in TKO. We don't have a clue. Like we can speculate wildly because that's what we do. But we don't know. So I will speak from personal experience, and I'm not pushing back on anything that you said because I think you're 100% valid. I'm going to speak from personal experience when I say I get this. Businesses have a bottom line to meet. Huge global corporations have a bottom line to meet. And the talent side is nowhere near the live event side and the merch side and the tickets. It's completely separate. So everybody that is listening, watching right now, just hear us out when we say this. It's completely, they're not connected. The talent budget and the records, I know it's a bad look that TKO is saying, oh, we set this record or we got close to this record or blah, 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 blah. It's a bad look for them to say that and then release people 100%. There's no doubt about it. And like you just said, Andy, what they should say is, make it separate, acknowledge that it's a separate thing, because it is. And again, I've been on the side of being released from a global corporation where they made money. I'm not going to say the name, but made money hand over fist with the Super Bowl. Most watched Super Bowl in history was put on by the company that I worked for. And then me and a bunch of other people were let go. So I get it. I understand the frustration. Andy, that doesn't make it any better from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, and I completely get that, and I completely understand that it's a business decision. I think more so for me this year than ever before is the big names that were part of this release.
Yep.
At least a few of them leave a very bad taste in my mouth for specific reasons. But then, like, it's not like, the name. I mean, the biggest name of them all is probably Kairi Sane. The fact that she got released, being involved in one of the biggest stories in the WWE going on right now between Asuka and Io,
yep.
And then she's just completely dropped. I mean, completely dropped to the side. It's not like she hasn't been used on TV in a while. And again, like I get that it's a business side of it. There are certain people whose names, no offense to them, and I guys like Apollo Crews who haven't been on TV in how long? He got released. Okay, that doesn't come as I hate it for him, but it doesn't come as a shock. Kairi's been on TV like crazy. Aleister Black.
She was just on the Raw after WrestleMania in a tag match.
Aleister Black and Zelina were massive names going into WrestleMania. He was apparently supposed to, like, if the Cody thing didn't happen, he was supposed to be facing Randy Orton either at Mania or post Mania. And if you hear some of the things that I believe Triple H has leaked on purpose, the person behind the phone call was supposed to be Aleister Black. And TKO came in and said, no, we're going to change the Pat McAfee. We're going to do this, that, and the other. So those are the ones that really stick out. The one that really just, it boiled my blood when I saw this name was the Wyatt Six, because they marketed off of Bray's death to create this group and then toss them to the side. They made all the money they could off of the death of one of their most beloved superstars just to throw it to the waste, throw it to the side, do absolutely nothing with it, and then just release them quietly off to the side. Yep. Like, that is such a dark, bad look that I think is such an indictment on the whole company as a whole, on TKO. And I don't, like, again, is Triple H making this call? Is it TKO? Is it a mix of the two? But you have to look, perception is everything. You're right. We're not backstage. We're not in these meetings. So perception is all we have. All we have is what we are shown. And what we are shown is the Wyatt Six was a very popular group, sold a lot of merchandise. Even the last couple of months, they sold a lot of merchandise just to be dropped to the side and released. Yep. So it leaves a really bad taste in my mouth to see those names on this list. People that are not just sitting on the sideline, but people that are healthy, that are working every single week, doing the best they can, being super entertaining, just to be released. I mean, Aleister Black wasn't even here a year before he got released. So, like, what are we even doing at this point?
Yep. Yeah, you unpack that very, very well. Thank you for doing that. If you're live in the chat with us, leave us your comments, leave us your questions, your thoughts on these releases, and we'll try our best to get to each and every one of them. Yeah, I think they tremendously dropped the ball with the Wyatt Six, and you covered the Bray stuff very, very well, so I'm not even going to touch that, but I'll look at it from a creative side, from the standpoint of they had one of the most memorable debuts in the history of the company, not just within the last 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the most memorable debuts in the entire company, and they didn't do anything with it. Now, if you listen to Bully Ray on Busted Open, he drove this point home as soon as it happened. And maybe this got them in some hot water. I don't know. But the picture that leaked the night they debuted of them taking a picture with a fan in a Whataburger after they just caused all this destruction, and then they posted it. I mean, again, I don't know if that got them in hot water or not, but coming off the heels of such a hot angle and then that happens. Again, I know we're in a different time and space in the world of social media and wrestling, but you just, I don't know. You never know. I'm not saying they had heat.
Yeah.
I just think that WWE found a way to drop the ball creatively with the Wyatt Six. And also one you didn't mention that I think they also creatively dropped the ball with is the Motor City Machine Guns. Like they come in heralded as one of the greatest tag teams of the independent scene, chose you over AEW, and you can't find anything for the Motor City Machine Guns to do other than to play second fiddle for a prone Johnny Gargano crying about Tommaso Ciampa leaving. Like that's all you can come up with for the Machine Guns. Like I know they had a huge match at the Royal Rumble last year with DIY, and they were put in an unfortunate spot because it was a 4-match card, and that was the only match that anybody wanted to go get merch or food or go to the bathroom during. Like that's not their fault. But it just, Andy, like why you couldn't find anything for the Machine Guns, I'll never know.
I mean, if you are a top name on the independent scene right now, if you're a top name in TNA and you see the way that they got handled, you see the way that Aleister Black got handled, you see the way a couple other people have been handled, are you going to trust WWE to do that to you? Like, are you going to trust them to? So I think it's bad. I mean, listen, creatively, Motor City Machine Gun's pretty easy to book. You know what you do? You put them in there in the ring and just let them go. Like that's about as simple as it becomes. And I just, that one blew my mind that because they weren't even here really a year at this point. I mean, they've been here almost 2 years now at the most.
Almost 2, yeah, almost 2.
So I don't.
Yep.
I don't get it. Some of these names, I get some of the names. I get you have to do this. I wish they honestly wouldn't do it the Friday after Mania.
Right.
Like that, you're coming off of a already very polarizing WrestleMania that a lot of people are iffy on. And then you start doing this, you push out your fans. Plus, I don't know if you saw the leaked audio from I forget what his name is. He's part of the TKO board that was at the University of Alabama talking about how they function creatively in WWE. He's saying TKO has full creative control of everything. So all of this is just, it's not a great look for WWE, for Triple H, and for TKO. And it's one that I don't think is going to go away quickly. Like, I think, people are going to forget about it within the month, probably. But I don't think, we heard it tonight, the We Want Kyrie chants. You're doing that match at Backlash, you're probably going to hear We Want Kyrie chants in the middle of that match.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't think it's that great of a look for the company coming off of what's supposed to be the big celebrated event of the year. Right. You turn around and do this, and now this is what people are talking about. Nobody's talking about WrestleMania anymore. They're talking about this.
Yeah, it definitely, it's poor timing for sure. And again, we're not inside TKO. This may be their timeline. We don't know, but it does seem to fall either the week after WrestleMania or 2 weeks after WrestleMania, most of the time when this happens. So again, we don't know. We're purely speculating here. But again, just like you said earlier, Andy, we only know what we're shown. And what we're shown is that a lot of great talents were just shown the door. So read Matt Cardona's tweet. Message to the talent. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit at home and sulk? Are you going to just live off your WWE name for the rest of your life? Because I got news for you, Andy. As shocking as some of these talents are, they're probably not going to be able to rest on their WWE name for the rest of their careers. Like they're probably not going to be able to do that. So Matt Cardona's third option in his tweet is go do something about it. Reinvent yourself. Make the people talk about you, because I reference Matt Cardona and a lot of people can, roll their eyes and do whatever. This happened to Matt Cardona, and he spent 5 years working his tail off, and guess where he is? He's back in the WWE. Now, one could argue that he could be part of this release next year. You can make that argument, but the fact of the matter is the dude made himself made Zack Ryder relevant on the independent scene in the 2020s and did it really, really well. I mean, Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, blah, blah, blah. List goes on and on of guys that have done this. But Cardona being the example of a guy just like these guys are that were released, a mid-card guy that had probably reached their ceiling, if we're being honest. What are you going to do about it? Mm-hmm. And as much as I just sat here and said, Andy, that I don't think they can live off their WWE name for the rest of their career, all of these have the potential to reinvent themselves and to pick things back up and become huge superstars, no matter if they go to AEW, if they go to TNA, if they go to CMLL, if they go to Japan, if they go to MLW, wherever they go, Andy. All of these have star potential. It's just a matter of what they do with it.
Yeah, it is. But I just, again, with some of these, I don't think we'll see most of these back in WWE again. I mean, this is Aleister Black's second time being released. I would be shocked if we see him walk. I would be shocked if he wants to walk back through the doors of WWE. I think with Bo Dallas, I think that this is his second time being released, and so I don't think he really, especially after the way things fell and how rushed it felt, and it just seemed like they got dropped to the side. Kairi Sane's the same way. I don't know how many times you can keep doing this to people and expect them to keep coming back. And you're not, I mean, let's be real honest. You're not going to keep creating Braun Breakers and Obafimis.
Correct.
You're not going to keep creating people to come up from NXT to be the next big thing, to be the next big star. You need the independent scenes. You need people from other places who have built a name to come back in. And not everybody's going to be a Drew McIntyre. Not everybody's going to be a Cody Rhodes. No shame on the guy. A lot of people are going to be Cardonas, where they make a name for themselves in the independent scene, but when they come back, they're not going to be looked at very differently. And I think that, I mean, listen, tonight, this blew my mind and it frustrated me. Michael Cole almost completely burying Ethan Page on commentary, calling him goofy and all. I get it, he's a heel, but you're the voice that people's hear. And if you're doing this, him during Joe Hendry's thing, tonight was a night that I was not a fan of Michael Cole tonight. It's just, you have perception is everything. And these new people coming in, people leaving, all of this stuff, perception is everything. And the way that they have handled it, it's not been a good look. And releases are never, in a lot of people's eyes, are not going to be handled well. It's the ugly side of the business. We talked about that. It just feels like this year it was extra ugly and it was extra rough to look at.
Yeah, it definitely was. Well, you mentioned Ethan Page and Joe Hendry. We're going to talk about those NXT call-ups here in just a little bit, because when one door closes, another one opens, and, they're going to filter in the NXT people. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Our buddy Brad is in the chat with us. Thank you, Brad. He asked, do you think the TKO budget runs and ends on or after WrestleMania? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. Most businesses, their fiscal year doesn't end in an actual year. So it's not like January, December, or whatever. So there's a good chance that it happens in March or it happens in June if they're running on actual quarters. So if I had to guess, it's probably around there. Maybe their fiscal year ends in June, Andy, and they start realigning their budget in April, and that just where this happens to fall. I don't know exactly. But before TKO bought the product in 2020, when releases started, it happened around this time too. I think it was a little bit later in 2020, but regardless, these releases happen around WrestleMania, even before TKO came along. So it's just not a good look altogether. Andy, I'm tired of talking about releases. I'm tired of talking about negativity. Let's talk about some fun stuff that happened on Monday Night Raw. I wasn't with you last week, but the way that Monday Night Raw ended last week, Roman Reigns with his cousins side by side, holding on to that new World Heavyweight Championship, and wouldn't you know it, the other cousin from the other brand, Jacob Fatu, shows up. And Andy, I'm just going to say this. Let me lay out what's happened, and then I'll give you my little thought here. Roman tells Jacob, you're issuing me a challenge. I'm going to give you a week to think about it because you don't know what you're doing. Well, a week goes by. Jacob Fatu shows up, puts the Tongan death grip on Roman Reigns tonight. Roman accepts his challenge for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Backlash. Andy, I don't know what I'm missing here. I get Jacob's reason, and I get the story. And I understand it. And I think the Usos are playing their part perfectly, trying to tell Jacob, look, we've been there, man. Just run the play. The money's going to come. The fame's going to come. Jey Uso saying, whoa, you done opened your mouth. Now you got to step up to the tribal chief. Trust me, I know. All that makes sense. Andy, what I'm having a hard time, maybe you can help me with this, is with Jacob. I'm not buying what Jacob is selling. And I think the reason, I don't know if it's the way he's delivering it. I don't know. I don't know if he believes exactly what he's saying. Does that make sense? Like, I just feel like there's something that's not hitting. Like, I want it to be like, I guess we're just coming off Roman and Punk, and I'm like, let's go. And now with Jacob, it's like, wait a minute. I feel like I'm losing intensity from Jacob. I got it a little more tonight, but I don't feel like it's as intense as it needs to be.
I don't think the issue falls with Jacob, and I'll explain why here in a second. I think with Jacob, his motivation is when the bloodline was running roughshod, you guys left me to starve. Like, you left me by myself to figure it out when I was living on the streets and arrested and all this, that, and the other. So, like, that side of this of you left me for dead, so now chickens are coming home to roost, and I'm coming home to take everything away from you. Like, I'm taking that title. I want everything you have. So I think it's a jealousy thing.
Yep.
So maybe we're starting to turn Jacob heel or a tweener or whatever. I think the issue is, and I don't think you're going to like my answer, so we can go back and forth on this because the more I've thought about it, the issue is they can only tell one story with Roman Reigns, and it's the bloodline. Over the last, 5-6 years now?
Yep.
Outside of the bloodline, where like there's no bloodline involvement at all, how many Roman Reigns stories can you remember?
None.
Because it's all about the bloodline. And everything is about the bloodline with him.
I think the reason for that is maybe intentional, because I don't think Roman was in, I mean, obviously the shoe feud with Bronson Reed, which tongue in cheek, okay, that's kind of fun, but it's, whatever. Eventually that wrapped back to Jey Uso and helping him out because he had problems with the vision.
Yeah.
So maybe that's intentional, that Roman wasn't in any in-depth storylines because he wasn't champion or wasn't going to be around much. I mean, obviously the night one main event of WrestleMania 41 between Roman and Seth and Punk was a fun build to get there.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. Like, and I think this is one of those things where I don't know that they can't tell another story with Roman. I think they're choosing to go back to what worked.
They're going to get as much out of that dead horse as they can. They're going to beat that dead horse until it's done.
Because guess what, Andy? It worked with Jey Uso. There's no doubt. It worked with Jey Uso, one of the top merch sellers in all the company, one of the most popular wrestlers in all the company. Was he that way before he feuded with Roman Reigns? Nope, was not. Yeah. And did they milk that a little longer than they should have? Probably did. Yeah. So now the one that we all were excited for, we couldn't wait for Jacob Fatu to get to this company because we knew what he was capable of. Now you put him in with Roman. Is it a one-off? I don't know. Does Jacob beat Roman at Backlash? I don't know. But are they trying to rinse and repeat for another member of the bloodline to try to elevate them to that status? Yeah, they are. We'll see if it works again. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I'm just saying it's worked before.
It has, but I think in different circumstances, because while it worked the first time, it's not going to always work on repeat, because I think people see that and they kind of get fed up with it. We talk about the Jey Uso love, but how quickly did that fall off? Why? Because he wasn't a part of the bloodline. It all goes back to the popularity of the bloodline, which I completely get. Like I think that is a great, example of it. I think the problem they have is they don't know, and I hate comparing the two. So don't hear what I'm not saying. Let me finish the thought before I get stuff thrown at me on the internet. Roman and Hogan are very similar, and that they can only be told with the title or with their specific story that they're going with, which is the bloodline. And so anything outside of that, I think they're either too afraid to try. But like, if you're going to do it, if you're going to try to tell a story outside the bloodline, why would you not do it after he lost the bloodline completely and was out on his own? But they didn't even really try, because everything was always either with Paul Heyman, or everything was always with the Usos, or was always against the MFTs, or is always against enter bloodline member here.
Right.
And so I think that is a big problem, is we're living in the same year over and over and over again when it comes to the Roman story. And I think people are going to start to want something a little different than just, rinse and repeat of the same thing over and over again.
City Kitty back in the chat with us. Thank you so much for being here. If anybody else is in the chat and want to chime in with some comments, questions, please feel free to do so. We'll take on each and every one of them as best we can. We are live here on the Squared Circle Radio YouTube channel. Thank you for being with us. City Kitty, it's so hard to overcome Roman's dominance, and she says Jay is a rare exception. I think that's valid. I think that, it's not a insert bloodline member here and let's try to get them over. I just think that Jacob Fatu is the logical one to put in there, because like I said, that was the one everybody was excited for. Wait till Jacob gets here. Blah, 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 blah. Brad in the chat with us. Bloodline reminds you of the beginning of the NWO, not the part where the NWO ran forever. I think that's a really good point, Andy. And I think, and let me try to connect the dots of what I think Brad is saying here. The NWO in its first, let's call it 6 months, give or take 6 months after the Roddy Piper feud. So that would be July to March, July 96 to March 97. Anyway, so the beginning part of the NWO was hot, red hot. Couldn't do anything wrong because we hadn't seen anything like it. Andy, I think the bloodline, honestly, the same way, because we talk about this all the time, man. 2023 was the biggest year that WWE has ever had. Who was at the center of that? Roman Reigns and the bloodline. And the year started with Sami Zayn. It went from there. Yeah. You made Jey Uso in the summer and this, that, and the other. So I think Brad is onto something here in the fact that once you water down the bloodline to the point with the MFTs and the war games and this, that, okay. And now this could be like WCW 1999 trying to reclaim the NWO with Hogan, Hall, Nash, Luger, Scott Steiner, whatever. Only time will tell if it's going to work or not. All that to say, though, Andy, let's look at the immediate right in front of us. We're still getting Roman versus Jacob Fatu, and it's still going to be a great match when the bell rings. Yeah, I hope it is. I think it will be, because I hope that they just let them do their thing. Like, the story going in is whatever it is, but just let them, kind of like Punk Roman at WrestleMania. I think just let it be its own thing going forward. I completely agree. Like, I think the bloodline, the biggest part, like the biggest jump and the most popular moments of the bloodline all go back to Sammy being a part of it. Like, that was the peak of, the bloodline, even going into, WrestleMania 39. After WrestleMania 39, the bloodline was still very popular, but it wasn't what it was. Even going into WrestleMania 40, you add The Rock in and kind of some things change. But I feel like we're heading in that, we got the NWO, we got the NWO Wolfpack. Now we're going to start doing this version. I think tonight they call themselves the First Family. I think is the word that's floating around now.
it's still the bloodline. I don't think the first family name is going to go anywhere because I think everybody's just going to call them the bloodline, which is what they are.
Sure.
But I do think it's going to be great. I personally, we're looking big picture. It's going to end one of two ways, and one is very unlikely, and one is very, very likely. The unlikely is that the Usos turn on Roman and join Jacob, and kind of run with that story. That's not happening.
Yeah.
The other is Jacob becomes the new Solo. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Because they have done such a good job. The difference between the two is they brought Solo into that part. Like they made Solo what he is today because he was part of that. Jacob was already that before this story. I don't think Jacob needs to be a part of Roman's group to make Jacob feel like the big deal. I think Jacob by himself can do that with the right story, with the right booking. That's what I'm afraid we're heading for, is Jacob to be the new Solo and kind of just we're on a loop of where we were, 2022, 2023.
Well, we're going to predict it next week because Andy Backlash is
oh my gosh
less than 2 weeks away. So we're going to preview Backlash next week on our show.
That's crazy.
Brad's already making his prediction that Jacob will join Roman after the match. I don't think that's going to happen because I'm like Andy. I think Jacob can stand on his own. However, I do not think this is the end of this story, and I'm anxious to see what twists and turns that we get after it. I think ultimately there's something Roman and Jay again eventually. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see, Andy. I don't know. Only time will tell. But again, next week we will preview Backlash because it's right around the corner. All right. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. This is Squared Circle Radio right here on our YouTube channel. We are live every Monday after Raw, and then most of the time after PLE's TBD on Backlash in 2 weeks. But tune in right here. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, please. If you haven't already, we would appreciate that so very much. Drop those comments, questions in the chat. We would appreciate that as well. If you notice, there's a little QR code down at the bottom of your screen. That's the best way to support the show. That is our Squared Circle Radio t-shirts. Go check those out. And then you'll notice a little logo down there at the bottom. I made this announcement on the Sunday recap of WrestleMania Night number 2. Maybe you didn't hear it, but Sports Wire Radio and our friend Tom Bryce has inducted Squared Circle Radio for a second time in the Sports Wire Radio Hall of Fame. So we appreciate Tom so much. That is for our longevity on the channel. We have been with the channel for over 5 years now, covering WWE. Tom has called us the main source for all WWE news on Sports Wire Radio. So we appreciate Tom and everything that he does. If you're more interested in what's going on Sports Wire Radio, or if you're listening on Sports Wire right now, let the Reverend Tom Bryce tell you what's coming up next on the channel.
Looking for all the latest happenings in the world of sports and wrestling? Well, you're in luck because Sports Wire Radio has you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. With great shows in the world of sports such as the Pinstripe Chronicles hosted by Uncle Tats, Donald Stewart, and Rob Barrows. New York Baseball Talk with Chris Bazaya and Rob Maraska. The Liftoff Jets also hosted by Chris Bazaya and Sharman Phillip. Neil Villapiano and the Devil's State of Mind. Randy Dillon's Hockey Fan Chat. In the world of wrestling, Sports Wire Radio has you covered with Squared Circle Radio featuring Chris Belcher, Andy York, and Jared Justice. Those sit-down marks with DB, Primo, AJ, and Michael. A work in progress featuring the Mayor of Canton, Piles, and Glenn Abbott. You can catch all of these great shows and more anytime, anywhere, and any place via the Listen Live button on sportswireradio.org, and you can also catch Sports Wire Radio anytime on YouTube at Sports Wire Radio 6579 to catch all the latest happenings in the world of wrestling. Sports Wire Radio has you covered. It's all sports matters and all wrestling matters here on Sports Wire Radio. I am your host, the owner of Sports Wire Radio, the #1 global radio station, the owner of the Promo Wrestling Federation, and one of the owners of the Pride Wrestling Federation. Your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce.
Sorry, I have myself muted. Thank you, Tom Bryce, for everything that you do for Sports Wire Radio and for Squared Circle Radio and playing our show and all the things. Man, that guy works very, very hard, and he still has all that energy. I don't know how he does it, but he does. This is Squared Circle Radio. The Young Buck Andy York is with me. My name is Chris Belcher, and Andy, let's talk about our champion, our other champion, our WWE Undisputed Champion, with the shiner on his eye and all, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, coming out on SmackDown and basically saying, listen, he's a fighting champion. He's standing right here. It's what a champion does. And we can speculate on who his opponent might be. It's very telling, I think, Andy, that maybe Cody is still actually on the injured list. So we're leaving the door open for Punk. We're leaving the door open for Randy Orton. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about Cody because it's a wait and see at this point. But I do want to push back on something you said last week when you were doing the show by yourself and I wasn't able to make it. Because you said last week that you wish they hadn't shown Cody on the Raw after WrestleMania because he got punted the way that he went out from WrestleMania. Normally, a punt from Randy Orton gets you stretchered out, gets you on the shelf for a couple of weeks.
Putting AEW.
Putting AEW, whatever. And I'm going to push back on that just a little bit because, not because I lived through the punt era and that was, I loved that era of Randy Orton and this, that, and the other. But I think Cody said it better than I could in his promo on Friday night. I think it's perfectly acceptable for Cody Rhodes to have gotten up and walked out of WrestleMania. Now, it wasn't necessarily by himself. There was medical and there was referees because he got his bell rung for sure, for real at WrestleMania. But I think that serves even more to the point, Andy, of why he had to get up and why he had to walk out, because that's who Cody Rhodes is. That's the champion that Cody Rhodes is. And I get if you want to sell it, and I get that, but I didn't hear any boos the Monday night after WrestleMania. I didn't hear any boos on Friday Night SmackDown. I think a lot of people, maybe I'm putting words in people's mouth, I think a lot of people have said, you know what? Okay, we got rid of Pat McAfee. We got a pretty good match at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes is still the champion, and he's a tough dude. Look at his eye. Maybe we can get behind this guy. So I think, Andy, him walking out of WrestleMania, walking out on Monday and confronting CM Punk, and then walking out on Friday, I think it's great. I think maybe this is maybe we're turning a corner in the Cody character. I don't know. I think it's great.
Yeah. I disagree completely, but I think that's just kind of the different eras. My thing is, if you're not going to sell it, why even do it? Like, why even make it the end shot of WrestleMania night one?
Okay.
If you're going to do it, why not do it to the lead up of WrestleMania? Add, it's the word for Cody, more adversity on him,
right,
heading into the match and everything. I think the precedent around it is very similar to the precedent around when Kevin Owens did the apron power bomb, or when, or the package pile driver, like that kind of thing of it. It's a move that when it's seen, it takes people out.
Yeah.
Because that's the design of it. Like, he's not punting him in the head in that moment just because he's angry. He's doing it because he wants to take him out. And I think that should play into it more. Part of this tells me I think Randy legit is hurt and is probably not going to be around anytime soon. So, again, why do the punt at the end of the match? Just, if you're going to have Cody win, just have Cody win and call it a day. I think that's my biggest issue with it is you're kind of crushing what it has been built up to be over years and years and years of doing that. And so, yeah, I don't have a problem with Cody. I think Cody's going to be I think people are going to love Cody no matter what. Yeah. You're going to have your areas where they're going to boo him. You're going to have your moments. Depends on who you put him in the ring with. So I don't think it's like an indictment of like the Cody hate or anything. I think it's, protecting a move that should be protected.
And I agree with that. I do. I think, let's be real. Like, Cody walked out on the post show Like, it's not like WrestleMania. I know it's most everybody that watches WrestleMania is going to watch the post show, so you're going to see it. It's not like it was live on WrestleMania. Randy kicks him and he's walking out. Cody just stands up. Semantics. I get it, but I still think that, because I get the logic that what you're saying, and in most instances, I would agree with a special move like that needs to be reserved for something. Maybe Randy is out. I think maybe not. Maybe he just needs a couple of weeks off. I don't know. And the reason I say that is because Cody mentioned him in the promo. And I don't know that he would have mentioned him had he, if he was going to be out for a bit. Because he did say, hey, Randy, I took your best shot and I'm still standing here. Now, is Cody in any condition to compete? No. Kayfabe or not, he is not in any condition to compete right now. So I think only time will tell exactly what happens with Cody. But I'm like you. I mean, agree to disagree on walking out on the punt. Agree to disagree on walking out the Raw after WrestleMania. But Andy, let's go back to CM Punk and Cody Rhodes planting that seed, whether it happens at SummerSlam, whether it happens at WrestleMania in Saudi, I don't know, but that's one that you said, I think on the WrestleMania post show, hey, CM Punk doesn't have the world championship anymore. Well, he can go after Cody Rhodes, right? It's a match that we've been begging for since they were the last two in the Rumble a couple years ago.
Yeah, I think it's, you asked a couple weeks ago if or after night 2 of WrestleMania, if that was Punk's last chance to win a title. I think there's a really good chance he's the one that could take the title off of Cody, not for a super long reign, but I think just to give it to him one more time, and then, you can have Cody take it back, or preferably kind of have somebody else take it back, because this give it to somebody, Cody takes it trend, I think, is going to wear on people the more times you do it. But I think the feud itself, whenever it happens, is going to be amazing. I hope it's not at Mania, because it's such a way. And again, I know I'm harping on this already, and I'm going to harp on it until it's over with.
The next 365 days, get ready.
Yeah. This match happening in Saudi Arabia at WrestleMania in a main event, it'll probably be the main event unless the other match actually finally happens. That's supposed to happen several years now. If that's the main event in front of that crowd, it's going to be hard to watch, because that should be, if Chicago was ever going to have a WrestleMania main event, it's that main event, because you have your AEW Golden Boy that the Chicago crowd was anti-against for most of his AEW run, versus, the city's savior of CM Punk going at it. I hope it's not the main event. I would love if it's at SummerSlam. I think that's a great build to SummerSlam. And you can even give Punk the title and have him going around up until Rumble, even Mania going in, or just have Cody beat him and we can move on. But we have been planting the seeds for this since Punk came back to the company. I think one of his first interactions in the ring was with Cody. So, they've been planting the seed for a while. So I'm glad we're finally going to get it sometime this year. And I think it will absolutely deliver, as long as, people keep their nose out of business and let it be what it's supposed to be.
Cody said in this promo, "You're 0-3, sticking your nose in my business." So I don't know how real that is.
Depends on it depends on what their game was. If they were trying to ruin Cody, I'd say they're 1 for 2. Right. They may be 2-1. I don't really know.
It's that's a little bit of opinion there, Mr. Rhodes, and it's fine. And it's fine. City Kitty live with us in the chat. Just please don't have outside forces against Cody at WrestleMania again. Let him wrestle clean like they did Roman and Punk.
Yep.
Well,
didn't get a 5-star match.
Maybe we'll see. I don't know. If you're live with us in the chat, thank you for being with us. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button on the video. That helps the algorithm. Also helping the algorithm is dropping those comments and questions in the chat. We would appreciate that so very much. We hit 400 subscribers over WrestleMania weekend. Thank you all so much. If you're brand new to the channel, thank you for doing that. We appreciate that more than you will ever know. Andy, let's talk about something not so serious, shall we? Let's talk about our boy Danhausen. and the nonsense that Danhausen has gotten himself into on Friday Night SmackDown. He was not on Monday Night Raw tonight, unless I missed him. Did I miss him?
No, I didn't see him unless it came out during a break or something.
Okay, well, I didn't see him on Monday Night Raw, but he was on SmackDown in action again, and he cursed The Miz and Kit Wilson during the match, as you see, a pyro malfunction, as Wade Barrett would say. The reason I bring up Danhausen is because this episode of Friday Night SmackDown this past week, not only was he in a match, but he was in a multi-part vignette with The Miz at his house, which was pretty funny. Not gonna lie, pretty funny. Our buddy Dave Meltzer in the internet wrestling community has decided that this was too much Danhausen on a show. We're gonna ruin Danhausen by putting him all over a show. Andy, what do you think? Was this too much Danhausen on Friday?
So I don't know if it was too much, but I do think if they keep putting like this, it will become oversaturated and it will become, let's be real honest, I think we all know that the popularity of Danhausen has a lifeline at some point.
Yes.
It's going to run out at some point. It's going to come to an end. So I get capitalizing on it as much as possible. But we kind of ran into the same thing, two completely different characters, but it's just the best comparison I have. We kind of ran into the same thing with The Fiend of we saw it way too much. Like we saw way too much. Now, so not saying Danhausen should be, locked away like that. Danhausen is a character that is him. He's not personas and everything else. But it was a lot of Danhausen on SmackDown. I mean, there was a lot of Danhausen. I think ride while it's hot, catch the lightning in the bottle while it's going, but be ready for that cliff because it's coming at some point. I don't think it's happening anytime soon. I think we got some time still, but I get where Meltzer's coming from with it because I do think that we can get there. Yep. So to say if it was too much or not, if kids loved it, that's the whole design of this segment. Is it's not for us, even though there's a lot of adults that love it. It's for kids, and kids are going to love it no matter what. So you got to have your moments in there. So I don't know if it was too much Danhausen, but it was entertaining. Like you can't say that it wasn't entertaining to say the least.
City Kitty in the chat took the words right out of my mouth. Danhausen was top 3 of the merch sales, and she's talking about in Allegiant Stadium at WrestleMania. Cody, Punk, Danhausen, top 3 sellers in the stadium. So like you said, Andy, it might be for the kids, but the adults are enjoying it too. I'm with you. Like, I understand when too much is too much. I also think that Danhausen needs to get more than 2 minutes on a given show. So I think now that we have done 3, 4, 5 segments, whatever it was, with Danhausen on a show, now let's find the happy medium of how much Danhausen is going to be too much on a show, because I think it's great to have him in there actually wrestling, like it's not just a comedy act. Let him get in there and do something. Let him get in there and do a head scissors and get some wins. And he's 2-0. So let him get in there and wrestle. I think that's totally fine. But I'm with you. I think let's ride it while it's hot, and let's just get ready for it to come to a crashing halt. I will say this. It seems like, and this can parlay into our discussion about the NXT call-ups. It seems like with the celebrity involvement in WrestleMania and with Danhausen and this, that, and the other, that after all, WWE, the E stands for entertainment. Yeah. So it feels like TKO and the WWE are sort of shifting and leaning into the entertainment side of things. And that's right up the alley of Danhausen. But Andy, that's right up the alley of Joe Hendry, NXT call-up. So I think a lot of people are upset online about the increase of these gimmicks that are deemed entertainment worthy. So I think what people have to remember is it's entertainment at the end of the day. I got mad at somebody online. Rarely do I respond to the internet wrestling community, but I had to over WrestleMania weekend because somebody was upset about it was something to do with the entertainment nonsense and we shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that and this is not believable, blah 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 blah. Andy, at the end of the day, you don't have to like Danhausen. You don't have to like Joe Hendry. You don't have to like Lil Yachty with Trick Williams. And you don't have to like Logan Paul, I Show Speed, fill in the blank. You don't have to like it. Guess what? It's entertainment. Choose, it's your choice to watch something else.
Yeah.
Joe Hendry and Danhausen aren't going to be on there all the time.
No.
If you want to wait it out and watch what you want to watch, then watch what you want to watch. But Andy, at the end of the day, it's entertainment. You don't want to watch it, don't watch it.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I think the only thing I would add is there was a large portion, there's a long time where we only focused on the E of WWE and we didn't focus on the second W.
Sure.
Like, I WrestleMania is a little different because it's the grandeur, it's the spectacle, but it's also what's the first word of the show? Wrestle. So like, I would like a little bit more wrestling at my WrestleMania than we got this year. I saw a thing where, did you know that there was only 8 wrestlers more both nights combined than paid sponsorships on the show?
Interesting.
So like, I get it. You're a business. You're making money. You're doing all this stuff. The entertainment side of it is great. Like Danhausen is such a great thing. Joe Hendry tonight got over with just saying fire Logan Paul. Like that was a great moment. The crowd loved it.
Yeah.
I think there is a great mix and there needs to be a great blend of entertainment and wrestling.
Yep.
And it feels like it's been a while since we've had that blend. It seems like we either get too much of one, too much of another, where we don't get the good blend of it. So I loved characters like Danhausen. I love characters like Joe Hendry. I love the over-the-top gimmicks when they work. But I also love the grit. Like I love, Obafemi is a legit ruler. Like he looks the part. He sounds like the part. Roman Reigns being the tribal chief. Things like that. There are two sides of the coin that you have to focus on.
Yep.
And like you said, not everything's going to be for everybody. That's true in every company. It's true in every wrestling promotion there is. Because you've got, people who love the hardcore wrestling. You've got people who love the entertainment wrestling. You've got people in the middle as well. So it's a very tight balance that you have to maintain.
All right, we've got Alex Alberto in the chat. Thank you for being with us, Alex. He says, that's a cop-out. As a customer, I'm entitled to the entertainment to cater to me. The don't like it, don't watch it ideology is very alienating. I understand that to an extent, because at the end of the day, we as the customers ultimately pay the bills for WWE. Like, if we're not buying the product, they're not in business.
Yeah.
And if enough customers decide that it's not entertaining anymore, then WWE is going to have some problems. We're going to have to change some things. On the flip side of that, though, there are different movie genres. There are different television genres. This is the example that I gave. I think I said this on Tom's show on WrestleMania weekend because he and I were kind of talking about this. I do not like Will Ferrell. Despise Will Ferrell. My least favorite actor of all time. It's a sidebar. We'll sidebar it later, Andy.
Wow.
I do not like Will Ferrell. I go out of my way to not watch Will Ferrell movies. Why is that, Andy? Because I don't think they're entertaining. I don't. But that's my opinion. Guess what? Will Ferrell is doing just fine without my support. He does not need me to make his millions.
Yeah.
So while I don't have to watch it, I'm choosing not to watch it. It's a form of entertainment. Brad in the chat, WWE has to cater to multiple people. The variety is to bring more people and keep them around. That's true. Go ahead, Andy. That's true.
And I agree. Like I agree with Brad. I also agree with Alex as well a little bit because they do have to cater to more people. Like there's a wide range. But let's look at the times that when the business was booming. When the business is booming, what was the best on the show? Was it the entertainment or was it the wrestling? Like I think that is a part of it because at the end of the day, you're going to bring people in. You know, when Little Yachty's on the show, Little Yachty fans are going to watch. I don't know that there's many Little Yachty fans, but they're Little Yachty fans.
He's a Grammy Award winner. There's got to be more fans.
I know. I like Little Yachty. I Show Speed.
Again, I don't.
Like I Show Speed is a very popular Twitch streamer. You're going to bring people in just because he's on the show, and I get that. I get the appeal of that. But for so long, and I think this is where this stems from, the hardcore WWE fans have felt alienated from their own product because the outside forces have been more important than your core audience who watches week in and week out. And I think that is where the biggest battle comes from is, you know, you don't like it, you don't watch it. I completely get that. Like, I completely get that. But you have to find the mix. You know, the wrestling was peak in 2023, 2024, but the Bloodline story with Sami Zayn was also right there as the entertaining factor. So, like, you have mixes. I think the hardcore fans, the WWE fans, the core fans have been alienated for so long. Anytime celebrity stuff starts to pop up like it did this year, anytime super gimmicky things start to pop up, we start to put our blinders up. We start to put our shields up of like, we have seen this story before. We know where this is going. And you can't alienate your hardcore fans for the outside fans. You have to find the mix and the blend. And I feel like the past couple of WrestleManias, they've done a decent job of that. But from the end of WrestleMania 41 to the involvements we got this year, I think it's just been a little too much of that. And you're alienating that core audience again.
Yeah, you certainly have to find the balance because along with alienating that audience, you're jacking up the ticket prices. And then, you know, that's not breaking news. That's, you know, there were less people in Las Vegas this year by about 10,000 both nights than there were last year. And there's maybe it's Las Vegas, maybe it's, you know, whatever. That's a discussion for another time. But I think WWE and TKO are banking on the fact that the core audience is just going to suffer through whatever they throw at them because they love their wrestling. And it's difficult sometimes. It definitely is difficult. I think they might be banking on that. And that's only going to take them so far.
Because look how bad it was in 2019.
Right.
Like money was down, you know, subscriptions were down, ratings were way down.
Hopping Grounds had 3,000 people.
Yeah, like it's you're good luck with that because like you're not going to keep. And again, and I know you're going to punch me in the face for bringing them up, but AEW's been on a rise the last couple of months. Like their shows have been getting popular more and more. And when you start to alienate that core audience that's there for wrestling and things like that, where are they going to go?
Sure,
they're going to jump ship. And so you just. In 2019, we didn't really have. They weren't there. They weren't at the point they are now. You got to be very, very careful if you're WWE about how you handle business from here on out.
Alex, I do appreciate you being in the chat, and I'm not singling you out at all. I really am not. But I'm sticking with my ideology. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Like it just, and the reason I'm sticking with that is it's just a bunch of negativity. Like we just don't need that. Like, I'm not going to get political and I'm not going to do this, that, and the other, but why spend the time and watch it and complain about it when you could be just doing so much more with spending your time wisely and this, that, and the other. So let's leave it at that for tonight. I think that's a great discussion to have. I'm sure that's going to come up some more. Andy, I mentioned Joe Hendry. Let's talk about the additional NXT call-ups. Aside from Joe Hendry, I know we're running a little long tonight. We appreciate you guys being with us. You called it last week, Andy. You called almost every single one of these call-ups. Ethan Page, you called it. JC Jane, you called, but coming with her is the rest of Fatal Influence. And then Ricky Saints coming next Friday. And then, of course, Blake Monroe also coming at a later date. Andy, you wonder if the main roster is just ravaging TKO at this point, or not TKO, NXT at this point, but I think they're in a good spot to recover and be okay. We're always concerned with NXT, but man, this crop of talent coming in is something to get excited about.
It is, but I bet Sean is livid with Triple H because he is literally depleted. I mean, the men's roster on NXT has just gotten completely obliterated over the last 6 months. They lost Oba, they've lost Joe Hendry, they've lost a bunch of people. I think these are great additions. I think, and I'm shocked it's taken this long for guys like Ricky Saints and for Ethan Page to be called up. I think we've been saying their name for a while now when we do the NXT call-ups and everything. I love that they're putting Ethan Page right in the center of the IC title right away, getting him involved.
Ricky Saints will be right in the middle. I guarantee you Ricky Saints runs Trick Williams next week.
Absolutely. He could. I'm just saying he could do something with Cody too, which will be interesting.
He definitely could. If they miss that interaction, then they've missed it completely.
But like JC Jane jumping in right away, being a part of that. So Ruka fighting the women's champion. The one I'm worried about the most is probably Joe Hendry.
Jeez,
yeah. The one I'm probably worried about the most is Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
I think we're going to learn a lot because he's definitely going into a feud with Logan Paul like right away. If he loses that feud, I'm very nervous for him, very worried for him. But I love these additions. I think they're great additions, and I think they can do really, really special stuff on the main roster.
Yep, I definitely do too. I mean, you called every single one of them. You also said last week about Ethan Page that he was a better Miz. I'm not going to push back on what you said. I'm just going to say maybe he's an evolved version of the Miz because I'm okay with it. Like, I don't think the Miz is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I think he's better than people give him credit for, but I do like Ethan Page a whole lot, and I think that's a great comparison.
Yeah, I hope that they do a lot with Ethan Page. I hope he's not just like slated into this role.
Yeah,
but I'm excited to see what he does.
I don't want him to second Rusev like it seems like that might happen.
I think we're heading for a fatal 4-way. I mean, like we have to be heading for a fatal 4-way for the IC title.
I was really hoping for Ray Phoenix to come out tonight, but it didn't happen. Let's get to a couple of these comments real quick, and then let's get out of here. We appreciate you guys being with us. City Kitty saying, haven't been a fan in the 80s and the 90s and dropping out until the 2020s because I felt like they lost the plot and their core audience. Well, that would make a lot of sense. That's what happens when you drop out when there's no competition. But it took them a while. They figured it out. I think they started listening somewhat to the fans again. They 100% did, or we wouldn't have got Cody Rhodes in the main event of WrestleMania 40. And, all this, that, and the other. So I completely agree. Alex hanging out with us. He says he understands my point. Thank you. Can anyone explain the tongue and death grip to me? Go watch Ming in the 90s. Go watch Ming. And he was Haku in the WWF in the 80s. Go watch Ming. He did the tongue and death grip, and Ming is in the bloodline. He is the father of it's Tongaloa and Tamatanga, isn't it?
I think so.
Their dad?
I think he's their dad.
Yeah. So he's in there. So that's where I think that's a great move, honestly. If we're circling this conversation back around to Roman and Jacob, that is a great way to give some heel tendencies to Jacob Fatu instead of that crazy uber athletic moonsault that he does. Give him something that's vicious. Give him something to make you be like, oh my gosh, what is he doing? So yeah, I like that he's using the tongue and death grip.
I do too, but it's giving me flashbacks to Solo and the Samoan Spike. So that's kind of my thing, is like I'm seeing copy paste of what we're doing. I do think it's a great, I think they need to establish it more. Because I think it's a very, very obscure move.
Came out of nowhere for sure. Yep.
But I think in a lot of ways it could be the lead up to him hitting that uber, athletic moonsault that he does. Or something like that. But the way Roman sold it tonight, the way he just Jacob looked vicious tonight doing it. So I was a big fan of that part.
busted his lip and everything in that little interaction. Alex, further, how was it applied? Is it under the chin? Yes, it's under the chin. It's almost like, I think, I could be wrong, it's almost like an outside mandible claw.
Yeah.
So like a mandible claw goes in your mouth, like in the like under your tongue there. The tongue and death grip is kind of the same thing, but it's the other way.
Yeah.
So yes, I think so. I've never applied the tongue and death grip. The tongue and death grip applied to me. And all the times that the late great Jared Justice and I wrestled, I don't think that move was used. But if I had to bet, that would be it. Again, go watch Ming in the 90s in WCW when he was Haku in the WWF. I think he used it then as well. Andy, we were going to talk about Brock Lesnar tonight, but we are running long on time. So we're going to punt our Brock Lesnar discussion to next week. I think there's lots to be had there. So I want to give proper time for that discussion. Anything else really that we missed? I know Tiffany Stratton won the United States Championship. I said it after WrestleMania, the women's division needed a kick in the pants. They got it this week, in my opinion, Andy, with JC Jane and Rhea Ripley, Tiffany with the Bell or with Brie and Paige in action. And then tonight, I don't know, we get Becky Lynch versus Io Sky on Monday Night Raw. I thought the women's division showed this week.
Yeah, and again, you add JC Jane, who, Fatal Attraction just absolutely ran roughshod on the show, taking out everybody that they saw, which I think is a great move for them. The Oba Femi Open Challenge is a brilliant idea because I can tell you that there's going to be a point in time where nobody answers it.
Yes.
He's going to go out and call, he's going to go out, and Adam Pearce is going to be walking around backstage going, somebody's got to go answer it. Like, somebody's got to go answer it.
I kind of hope that's next week, honestly. I was the first one. It's like, if you go to, the mid-card locker room and everybody's like, who wants to answer that?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. They have done a great job of keeping him hot. They didn't have to do much to do that. I think the crowd is just on fire for him every single time he comes out.
Yep.
They've got something really, really special in Obafemi, and he looks the part. The promos he cuts is just phenomenal. Everything he says, you fully believe it. So I'm a big fan of what they're doing. It's also a great way to keep him away from the title for a little bit, which I love that he was like, all the champions are taken up, otherwise I'd be going after them. So here's what the next best thing, the next best thing to winning a title is facing me and trying to beat me. That is establishing Oba as almost as important as the title, and I love that.
Yeah, it's an attraction part of the show. It's like you got the title, you got the great wrestling, and then you got Oba Femi. So
gonna kill somebody.
And I think he's still labeled as a free agent. I think it's pretty clear that he's just going to hang out on Raw. I don't think he's going anywhere, but I guess only time will tell. All right. Great discussion tonight. Great participation in the chat. We appreciate you guys so much. Even if you're watching the replay, you can drop comments, questions in the chat. We'll go back and answer each and every one of those. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please make sure that you do so. The thumbs up button, the like button, we would appreciate that as well. Little QR code there on the bottom is our t-shirt store on Pro Wrestling Tees. Go check that out. And then lend your support to Tom Bryce and the crew over at SportsWire Radio. I know that they would appreciate it as well. All right. That is going to do it for another edition of Squared Circle Radio Live. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. We will catch you guys down the road.